Time travel, a concept that has been rumored to be a part of Boruto's canon for plenty of reasons, from the mysterious guy of the Kaguya dimension to the theory of Amado being a guy from the future. A vast number of possibilities indicate that the story of Two Blue Vortex will soon implement time travel as a key factor. Now the detail that I'm gonna show you will shift your entire perspective on the story's build-up. What if I told you the protagonist is stuck in an inescapable time loop? Take a look at this dialogue from the flash forward when Boruto responds to Kawaki's assertion on what he's planning to do. He questions if this was the only possible outcome, which means there could have been more outcomes that he might have foreseen. But unfortunately, every time he tried to change the future for the better, this outcome was the only place where he landed. And since he has already foreshadowed the worst possible future when he returned to Konoha, chances are the destruction of the village is what he was referring to. No matter how many times he tried, he couldn't reach a better outcome, meaning that it was in his fate to lose his shinobi companions, but not his ninja identity. Time travel is kind of unpopular in the anime industry, mainly because it poses numerous challenges to the author when he's writing his story, like the complexity of storytelling, as the introduction of plots that deal with the switch up of timelines are highly complicated to digest. Manga and anime often target a broader audience, and overly complex narratives might alienate some viewers or the readers. The author needs to ensure internal consistency, as well as avoiding possible plot holes while shifting a character from one time period to another. Not to mention, most recent time travel animes are not actually time travel. They are more like sending memories to the past self, and these type of plots are easier to write as the possibility of a paradox emergence is very low. When it comes to Boruto, the only reason that I believe could ruin the story after the introduction of a time traveling concept is the dismantling of narrative stakes. If characters can simply travel back in time to fix mistakes or change outcomes, it can lower the tension and consequences of their actions. And as we all know, maintaining high stakes is crucial for an engaging storytelling. So a plot twist where Boruto would just go back in time with the omnipotence power of his Jogan Eye could disappoint the whole fanbase for obvious reasons. But I don't think the author is so dumb to not realize this. After all, Boruto is the sequel to one of the most popular anime series of all time, and Kishimoto wants it to surpass Naruto. By this we can conclude even if time travel would get introduced to the story, it won't necessarily lead to a happy ending type of scenario. Rather, it could increase the stakes as well as narrative tension for the protagonist. The prophecies of Momoshiki and Toneri have already incorporated a time-related concept into the story. Boruto already knows what's about to come and how dark it's going to be, meaning that he has the knowledge of the forthcoming. The special Byakugan of Momoshiki that he can manifest in his right eye gives him the power to see what's going to happen in the future. The omnipotence was teased exactly 4 chapters prior in the manga with the same ability, and by the looks of it, he hadn't lost this power yet, since the claims that he made upon returning, like the identity of the Shinjus or the dystopian future, only hints at him using the Foresight power at some point during the time skip period. The fear of karma that I discussed in my last video also indicates the same, since he might have seen the future getting destroyed, that too by his own hands. Now the debate is not about how Konoha gets destroyed, but the confusion that he expressed against Kawaki. Why couldn't he accept the destruction of Konoha is the only possible outcome when he literally knew the dystopian future is on its way. Right now in the story, he's trying to switch the odds in his favor by fighting the Shinjus and bullying the other karma wielders. But deep down he knows how everything is about to end, yet he's putting efforts to make a difference. The burden of fate and the curse of knowledge should have put him in a state of death-wishing despair, something that Momoshiki was already expecting, but Boruto still decided to try, even after knowing the odds are not in his favor. The only optimistic part of his journey to defeat the darkness is the prophecy of Toneri or Suzuki. The very first time when the Jogan is activated in the story is when Boruto gets to know that there wasn't any other outcome other than this, so he must give up on finding another way to sort things and fight. He never relied on his Otsutsuki powers till now, but after listening to the stubbornness of Kawaki, he was left with no option but to activate his trump card. The Jogan is said to have connection with the Otsutsuki god due to the eyes from the background of his panel being identical to the dojutsu itself. Now let me tell you a thought-provoking thing. Boruto ties his headband and says that he's a shinobi when Kawaki makes it clear that there was no other way around and the age of shinobi is officially over. Now imagine if Kawaki had answered Boruto differently. What if he had told him if only the shinobis were powerful enough to protect themselves against the Otsutsukis, then he might have changed his mind on destroying this ugly system which has only brought misery to the world. If he had a reason to spare the shinobis, he would have spared them. But Boruto could not make the shinobis superior to Otsutsukis even if he had the power of going back in time. So it was obvious that there is no way Kawaki was going to stop. Even if his response to Boruto's question was different, the MC could have tried to change the timeline, but unfortunately, after countless efforts, he would always land upon the same outcome. It's like the grandfather paradox. In order to prevent the whole Otsutsuki versus shinobi system from happening, Boruto would have to prevent the chakra from spreading across the world. But if he was able to do it, then it could have prevented his own birth due to a number of reasons. If there were no shinobis, there wouldn't be any clans and conflict in the world as well. Moreover, since no chakra wielder would have existed on the planet, it was highly unlikely for any other Otsutsuki to visit the planet. This would have fixed the problem of Kawaki, but it was literally an impossible task to begin with, and even time travel could not do anything about it. So even if Boruto was theoretically trying to change the past in a way that Kawaki would change his mind, it was already a waste, since nothing can change what's written in the stars. And this is why Boruto activates the Star of Hope against Kawaki. Till now he was trying to be a pleaser type of person by thinking about the reason behind Kawaki's actions, but now that he has activated the Jogan, it means he is going to dispel the darkness as prophesied by Tonevi. The reason which makes me believe he was waiting for Kawaki to turn a new leaf by hypothetically going into the past is because he wouldn't have waited this long to whoop his opponent after seeing the situation of his village. He had some hope that Kawaki would embrace a new chapter if some things were changed in history, but nothing was able to prevent the end of Shinobi Age, meaning that the end of Kawaki would now become a reality. So that was how the Jogan would help Boruto to escape the loop of the Hokage mountain, the only hope to defeat Kawaki when everything else would fail. But some more interesting things that time travel could bring into the story are also mind-blowing. Before we get there, only 27% of you guys are going to be notified about my next upload, since the rest of you are not subscribed. So please consider subscribing and don't forget to turn on the notifications. Kishimoto has dropped some more heavy and major hints for time travel in the story, and I'm not talking about the time travel turtle from the anime. The mind-boggling details that have teased the time travel twist are literally there in the manga. We have been repeatedly reminded of the timeline in the manga's final issues, with points such as Boruto remembering he was born around the same time when Akebi died, or Aida and Kawaki having an age gap of 2 years, with the Senringan only being able to look 16 years back in time, which means from the birth of Aida to the present. They are deliberately making us focus on the time frames as something is definitely being cooked. I remember there was a popular theory of Boruto escaping to the war period as he would have bypassed Aida's clairvoyance, but fortunately for him, the Senringan user realized her mistake and gave Boruto a pass. Now let me ask you a question. If Amado had modified Aida and Daemon with Shiba's DNA after the death of Akebi, then shouldn't Aida be technically able to look into the past till the day when she was modified? How does it make sense to look back 16 or 19 years into the past if she didn't have this ability from birth? Well, this yet another time proves how a time traveling ability would help Boruto in knowing about things that no one is going to reveal to him, like the history and motivations of Amado, the truth about his daughter Akebi and what actually lies in the tool Kama. Moreover, he found the remains of Jiraiya that were untraceable during the war period. Not to mention, he also mysteriously obtained the remains of Shibai, an Otsutsuki god. I'm pretty sure Amado is not going to give us a definite answer to these questions, so Boruto going into the past to seek the answers is not out of question. One of the most interesting possibilities of time travel in Boruto can be traced back to the moon. There is a lot of metaphor and symbolism involved in the possibility of the moon being the main or leading element to bring time travel into the story. The first reason for me to believe this comes from Toneri, whose time has been frozen on the moon, meaning that when he wakes up, he would already be in the future. So here the moon acts as the destination of the only real time traveler of the story. Furthermore, Aida and Daemon's past is a very huge mystery as well. We don't know about their origins, and surprisingly, Aida has been given the omnipresent power to look through time. The cool thing is that both of their eyes are moon shaped, again reinstating the analogy of time travel. What's common between Toneri and the siblings is that all of them were somehow associated with Shibai Otsutsuki. While the cyborg duo got the DNA of the DT infused in them, Toneri was aware of an eye, which apparently belongs to the Otsutsuki god. And the interesting part here is that Shibai Otsutsuki must be about the human concepts like time and destiny, since he's literally an Otsutsuki god. So his omnipotence making it possible for him to make a person travel in time is definitely not out of question. It was revealed that this spell could create worlds that didn't exist before. So sending someone back and forth in a timeline or watching the timeline from above must be a normal thing for a DT like Shibai. But as I said earlier, we don't need a forced plot twist in the story. So the introduction of time travel must make sense. One of the ways for it to be incorporated into the plot has something to do with the anime and manga's timelines that many people believe are different. Toneri Otsutsuki's lore has not been unveiled in the manga, and it could be because he exists in another timeline which is running in the anime. So imagine a plot twist where Boruto would go to the past to relive his entire life only to lose everything, but this time with the prophecy that wasn't a part of the original timeline. In other words, the anime could simply exclude the struggle of Boruto with time to gain an embodiment of hope, but the manga could show us how Boruto will need to bring the pure eye into his destiny by switching timelines at some precise pace. This might be why Kishimoto was focusing on numbers in the final volume of the Boruto manga. In the anime, Urashige tells Toneri that he knows what he has done to the child of the Byakugan wielder. So maybe in the manga, Boruto would need to change history just to be the chosen one of Toneri Otsutsuki. Well, that might not exactly come true, but a twist to connect the timelines of the anime and the manga would be really mind-blowing. Nevertheless, the moon analogy puts Boruto, Aida and Daemon on the same spectrum due to the shape of their eyes. Hypothetically speaking, if someone comes back in time from the future, Aida must be able to catch him since she would be able to witness a new addition to the timeline with her Senringan. It would be like seeing a new character appear out of nowhere, so she might be the one who would alert everyone if a time traveler has to appear. But what restricts her is the age gap, which only lets her look back till the time of her birth. So if someone like Boruto, as believed by many, enters the war period, Aida wouldn't be able to see him doing changes to the past. And this brings us to this infamous panel where a mysterious entity can be seen behind Obito in Kaguya's dimension. Last year I pointed out the dialogue of this panel being a retelling of Boruto's life events, and since a lot has happened in the story from then, it's time to revive this theory with a whole new perspective. Back in the second chapter of Two Blue Vortex, Boruto tells Code that he has no idea about the horrors of Ten Tails. This was taken as a hint by many that he has seen the future, and it later got validated further when he recognized the Shinju's at first encounter. But as much as this Foresight theory made sense, there was another possibility roaming around which hinted at Boruto going back in time to witness the events of the Fourth Great Shinobi War. The main hint which enhances this possibility is the fact that he mentioned the horrors of Ten Tails, not the god trees but the Ten Tails. And the only way for Boruto to see this creature in action was by going back to the Fourth Great Ninja War. Now you could question that even if this horror of Ten Tails theory is true, how in the world did Boruto travel back in time? Well, the Naruto website recently revealed that Boruto's Flying Thunder God is different than the one used by Minato, as it's an entirely different variant. So considering it's a space-time jutsu, what if Boruto is able to break through the gates of space-time by using the same same technique. The sole purpose of him going back in time must be to witness the calamity that Madara, Kaguya and the Ten Tails had brought to the world. In other words, he was studying the best fights in history to become the strongest shinobi of all time. While it's a slim possibility, but considering how Jiraiya was shown to interact with Boruto and Sasuke in the anime's time travel arc, the possibility of Koji being the one to send Boruto to the past might be slim but not impossible, cause the anime has unexpectedly foreshadowing a lot of manga canon stuff. If you wanna know about the next flashback arc of Boruto, check out this video right now. Also comment down your time travel theories and I might create a part 2 of this video. Don't forget to subscribe and I will see you next time.